Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Wanted to go through a little wrist motion focus today. So I got the hack motion on. Great little tool, especially if you're not sure exactly what you're doing with your hands in your swing. It's one of those areas where it's hard to know exactly in real time what's happening. Obviously, I used full 3D, Bull 3D. This is a nice one just if I'm looking specifically at, okay, what's the hand and wrist doing? So I got it calibrated here. So if I just sort of hang my wrist straight down, actually I'll show you the calibration. So I'm just gonna go here, palm up, turn to session. So you can see neutral when my hand's just down, it's about 4 degrees of extension, which makes sense. If I go all the way, cup my wrist, 54 is my end range, 62 of flexion, so I can go a little bit more into flexion than extension. So if I put this down, something to pay attention to. So if I'm max, if I go for me, so if I go address and then I go max for me at the top, that's about my max flexion for my grip. Okay, I'm not going to be able to load that. So if I'm here, like you can see, it looks like I have a lot of load. I feel quite a bit of tension right here above my thumb when I try to flex it and load it. My wrist doesn't want to go flexion, and that's radial deviation, which would be an upward motion. It would rather go downward, so it'd be more ulnar. They go together, right? So as I'm going into radial, I'm also going into extension. As I'm going into ulnar, I'm going into flexion. So my wrist, there's also rotation happening as I'm doing that too. So it's really important to know if you're trying to flex your wrist, you won't be able to add any of that sort of extra load into the downswing, okay? Because that's, my wrist will not move that direction. So if you're going flex, make sure you know I'm going to be flexed, I'm going to be letting those angles out, and then I'm going to be continuing to rotate through. I'm not going to be flexed and then trying to load the club, because my wrist will not move that way. Can definitely cause an injury. So make sure you're aware of that. If you're looking to load it more, obviously face is a big factor as it transitions down this way. If I'm in a little bit more extension, or you can see how easy it is for me to load the wrist that direction. Not for everybody, obviously. If you're a guy that ends up going this way too much, you might need to create a little bit more of that motion, but from a flex position, you won't be able to do it. So make sure you're aware of that. Great little tool, hack motion here, if you're interested in getting one. So when you're training, so how it works is when I do, so I just grabbed a couple balls here so I can sort of show you how it works. So I'll hit one just so you can see it capture. So neutral, so I'm standing here at 4 degrees of extension. I set up 20 degrees of extension, then I hit one. And then you can hear it take that. It's saying at the top I went from, and this is how my pattern is, I go extension to flexed, and then I let it back out, and then at impact I was pretty neutral. So just playing it around with it. For me, I'm trying to feel like I'm here and then maintaining that extension. I actually go a little bit too much into flexion. So that's my main feel when I'm doing this. Everyone's a little different. Nice to be able to measure it. Nice to be able to know exactly what you're doing in your swing.